So it's been a while since I've been on here, and I really debated on whether I wanted to keep doing this or not. You've probably noticed I haven't made a video in months. Um, there's a reason for that. I took a break from social media in general for about a month, and then after that, took a break from YouTube and TV, and have kind of just worked myself back into the world a little bit. The last time I talked to you, I was doing 30-30 challenge, and I was going to work out 30 days in the month of June or July, I can't remember. I think it was June. At least 30 minutes every day, basically. I loved it. Oh my goodness, I loved it. I was running. I was up to 3 miles. It was going great. It was going great. Something in the middle of that stopped me dead in my tracks. I could feel it coming on. I knew it was going to happen because of my life and the cycle that my brain works and how my brain works. I knew something was coming. For those of you that don't know, I suffer with anxiety, and it's always been a joke. I've always made light of it. My family deals with anxiety. It's just part of who we are, and I always thought I had great control over it. So I never made a big deal out of it. Now, if you saw me during a storm, you would laugh at me. I lose my mind, and I've always made light of it, but in this situation it's not fun at all. I'm miserable. I just want to vomit. There's times where I just want to die. I'm so mentally exhausted during storm season in general. I'm so exhausted. Like I just feel like giving up. And what I mean by anxiety is I don't just fear about it. I sit there on my phone for hours looking at the weather. Hours. If I know a storm's coming in a few days, like a storm's coming on Friday, on Wednesday, well, today, really, Monday, I will be on my phone from Monday to Friday checking the weather. Even though the storm's not supposed to happen until Friday, I'm checking it out to see if anything's going to change. Over the top anxiety. And there's many other things that I fear about. I'm not going to go into detail, but it has been such a part of my life that I just thought it was normal. I thought it was normal to be this way. I thought it was normal to be anxious and just to live with these anxiety spells and move on. And when I say normal, since probably I was 5, it trends all the way back to for as long as I can remember. I've had this issue. And I've always fought it, and I've always prided myself in fighting it and being able to get out of it, except this time I knew it was coming, and I was preparing myself for it, and I couldn't fight it. I couldn't fight it at all. It was like this downward spiral, and this cloud came over me, and it was the worst experience of my life. I have never had anxiety hit so hard that I wanted to die. I thought about taking my life at one point. I didn't act on it. When that thought came, I freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, no, I'm gonna, so like just the fact that the thought came in, that I was that scared and I was that exhausted from the anxiety, it really scared me. I couldn't take care of my son at all. I would wake up in the morning and just stare and think, please don't wake up, Branson, because I don't have anything in me to take care of you. I mean, Branson was lucky to be dressed and fed. That's all I could do for him. And I just sat in this cloud, and conversations were happening and people would be around me, and it was like I wasn't present. It was terrible. And through that, I started realizing that a lot of times when I'd have these anxieties, I would turn to food. And I started realizing that addiction plays a big role in people with anxiety. And I realized that this time, because I had made this commitment to eat healthy, I couldn't turn to food. And so I was just floating without any kind of comfort. And there was only one thing that could help me, and that was God. And I realized that God was squeezing every ounce out of me so I would finally turn and look at Him and believe Him and allow Him to comfort me. And this wasn't something that happened overnight. This was months, 2 months of prayer, reading my Bible, memorizing scripture, seeking godly counsel, going to the doctor. All of this was happening this summer, and it was the worst experience of my life, but the best experience of my life, because what came out of it was beautiful. And what came out of it was this realization of who God really is and who I really am through God. And I realized that I was believing in lies about myself. The counselor who I ended up working with talked about the lies we believe ourselves. And I believed that I had to be a certain way in order to be accepted by others. And I had in order to be a certain way to feel good about myself. And those were the two main lies that I lived, and that was the main catalyst for why I was trying to lose weight. I wanted to be accepted by others, and I thought the only way I could do that is if I was pretty and if I was skinny. And so I went on this health battle. I was proud of myself. I loved talking about it. I thought, man, I am dedicated. Anytime somebody gave me a compliment, I was like, thank you so much. And I was so proud. And I should be proud of the hard work that I've done, but I realized that none of that was me. Every ounce of success I've had with health has come from God. And I've never given Him the glory. And no, I don't think that I went through this anxiety spell because God was trying to teach me a lesson. He was trying to teach me a lesson, but I don't think He was punishing me. I think that God put me at a point in my life where all I could do was look up at Him. And so, there's a scripture that I want to read to you about basically what happened to me this summer. It's Deuteronomy 8:2. Let me turn to it. It says, "And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart, whether thou would keepest His commandments or no." This is when the Israelites, God was putting an enormous amount of pressure on the Israelites, an enormous amount of pressure, basically squeezing them till there was nothing left to see what was really in their heart. And so when God does this, He's doing it to humble us so that we realize that we can't do anything without Him. To mature us, or it says prove us, but to mature us, to help us grow, and to see what's in our heart. And when God started squeezing me with this anxiety battle, He started pulling out all kinds of junk out of my heart. And the more He pulled out, the freer I became, and the lighter the load became. And the more I realized that it is God who does everything in my life. If I'm successful for weight loss, it's not because of me. God gave me the dedication. God gave me the determination. God gave me the conviction. He helped put the right people in my life. God did this for me. And it was amazing as I was going through the worst experience of my life, how through it all, it ended up becoming the most amazing experience in my life. I became more bold in my faith. I found a true relationship in Jesus. I could see Him working miracles in my life. And it really was the best experience of my life. And it took 2 months to pull out of it. 2 months of help from others, of me humbling myself and saying there's something wrong with me, of going to a doctor, of going to a Christian counselor, talking to my husband, talking to friends. And When I started this health journey back in January, and I laid food down at the altar and said, this is a problem in my life, this is a habit, this is an addiction that I am laying down, I knew that it wasn't going to be the only thing. I knew that if I started this, God was going to work in me in a mighty way. And I knew it when I prayed about it back in November, and I said, I'm going to do it. Having no idea what it was, all the things God was going to do in my life. I had no idea that Stephen was going to almost die, falling off a ladder. Having no idea that he would lose his job. Having no idea that he was going to start a brand new business, and I became the sole provider until the business was up and running. Having no idea that I was going to have a mental breakdown and face the biggest hurdle in my life, which is my fear. And yet through it all, as God is pulling these layers out of my husband's life and my life, how each step of the way, all I can see that's happening is my strength and my faith and this overwhelming love and awe for what God has done for me. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, to God be the glory in everything in my life. To God be the glory that He squeezed this out of me, that He put that kind of pressure on me. It's because of Him that I'm here. It's because of Him that I got the help that I needed. It's because of Him that I am down 50 pounds. And I'm a size 8. I'm wearing size 8 pants. It's because of Him. And I realize that I don't need the acceptance of others. I don't need the acceptance of myself, because guess what? God accepted me a long time ago. I am complete in Him, and I'm fully pleasing to Him. And that's all I need. That is all I need. And the more I believe in that, the closer I am to God and the holier I am. So I'm just going to leave you with this last scripture, because this has been the most powerful in my life. But the fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, which I didn't have, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. They that are Christ's have crucified their flesh against the lusts and the affections. That was so powerful to me, because I belong to Jesus, my flesh was crucified on the cross. And so the addiction of food, it's not a battle I have to fight, because Jesus fought it on the cross for me. The anxiety and the OCD, yes, I am OCD. I have obsessive compulsive disorder, not the funny kind, the real kind. That was crucified on the cross. And that changes the way you think about diet, because this isn't something I'm fighting. I'm not fighting food. I'm not fighting my weight. I'm not fighting my lusts for food. Jesus did that for me. That was defeated a long time ago. I am victorious through Christ. And when you start thinking about it that way, food is no longer a stronghold in your life, and food is no longer a stronghold in my life. And food seems like such a petty thing to talk about after everything that's happened to me, but that's where it started, and I'm so grateful for that. So thank you for listening. This was me as raw and vulnerable as I can be, and if I can I ask you to pray for me and my family. Pray for me as I deal with this new diagnosis of OCD and anxiety, and pray for my husband as God has placed him on this new journey. I'll be back. I'll make another video soon.